Welcome back to Gooner Fanzine TV, right next to Carrow Road after Arsenal's 2-2 draw with Norwich City, and in Freddie Ljungberg's first game as interim head coach. Dan the Man Mountain has just come from Freddie's press conference in the bowels of Carrow Road. How was it?
I really enjoyed it after however many months of nonsensical answers. But yeah, it was a really kind of enjoyable press conference. I mean, he started by saying, he was proud and he was honoured to stand on the touchline as Arsenal manager, which I think, every Arsenal fan wants to hear, don't they? Someone who understands the club and understands the traditions and knows what it means. That was just, really good to hear. Obviously, he went on to talk about the performance. He said, he was pleased with parts of it. The attacking wise, he was really pleased. Created lots of chances, especially in the first half an hour was a portion that he highlighted as kind of the best spell of the game for Arsenal.
Yeah.
I want to talk about the defence and how he said, it wasn't good enough, but he kind of gave an answer to, how he wants to sort things out, which was nice to hear because, we've not heard that recently about how things are going to be sorted.
Yeah.
So he said about when Arsenal were dominating the game, they had possession, that they were strong, there was no problem. But it's on the transition where they lose the ball and then you have to switch from attacking to defending. That's where the problem is for Freddie Ljungberg. That's what he highlighted. And he said he's going to work on that in training, which is really positive to hear. So yeah, lots of good things coming out of the press conference.
Excellent. We'll touch on Freddie and again in a second. Yeah. But just in terms of VAR, what was his response to the penalty and other issues?
He wasn't asked about that, but Daniel Farke was asked about that, and he went quite in depth. He wasn't happy with Arsenal's second goal especially, because he said there was a second ball on the pitch. But if you watch it back, the reason the second ball is on the pitch is because Norwich fans have thrown it back on from keeping it. Yeah. So they've only got themselves to blame in a way. But he talked at length about the decisions and VAR. Yeah. Wasn't happy with some of the calls. He didn't have an issue with the penalty, interestingly enough. But yeah, he wasn't happy. Ljungberg wasn't asked about it, unfortunately.
Okay.
So
yeah. I mean, you're absolutely right.
Main talking point.
Yeah. You're absolutely right in terms of the second goal, because obviously we were in the way. I was in the way, and Dan was in the press box, obviously, and we were sort of watching Norwich City fans behind the goal play with the ball, basically. So they're throwing it back. I think it was the funniest thing in the world to do. Like, we've never seen it over the years and seasons and decades and all the rest of it. But all you're doing is mugging off your own team, basically, because that then almost lost concentration. Yeah. Arsenal took the corner, scored from it practically. So it's like, well, you can moan all you want, Daniel Farke, but at the end of the day, your fans had that ball behind the goal. Yeah. You can't be talking about two balls on the pitch because it was your fans that put it on the pitch. So yeah. Anyway, back to Freddie, because that's my real bugbear, because I wasn't particularly impressed by the Norwich fans doing that, but that's a different story. So, Freddie, what was his demeanour? Describe what he looked like first when he came in.
Well, he came in, nice grey cashmere jumper, but very
didn't
dashing.
He have purple collars or something if we're going to be sartorial?
Yeah, very dashing, as he always does.
Yeah. Any Calvin Klein gear going on then?
Unfortunately not. But yeah, he was upbeat and positive, which was nice to see. He did highlight the things that did go wrong, but he talked at length about the things that went well, and there was a real kind of sense of optimism there. He was kind of asked about the job, and he said, I'm just proud and honoured to be trusted to be in this position that I am now. Yeah. Wasn't really drawn on it. I think obviously, it's going to take a while for the future to be sorted out. But yeah, he shared a little joke, had a little laugh. It was a really kind of upbeat and positive presser, which makes a real good change.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that as well. We both interviewed him in the past, and know he's a real sort of he's a real eloquent presence. Basically, he's really articulate. Did that come across today?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. The way he spoke was so kind of to the point and professional, and when you listen to him, you can tell that he knows what he's talking about. He was asked about, I think one of the questions was, how long is this going to take to sort out? Obviously, he's got a lot to work on, and he said, well, clubs have pre-seasons. That's what pre-season is for. You get 5, 6, 7 weeks to work on things and get things ready. He's had one training session, and people have been criticising him on social media. I don't understand that for me. Yeah. He's had one training session with a squad that have literally got no confidence, have been going for weeks and months with literally no direction, no understanding of what's going on, and he's put Arsenal out there today. It's been one of their better performances this season for me. Yeah. So I don't understand the criticism kind of surrounding either the team selection or the performance for me. But yeah, he did talk about I've only had one training session. It's going to take a while to sort. It's building blocks. I've got to take it at a pace that suits the players. Yeah. Because they've obviously got a lot to understand. It's a new man in charge. Things are going to be completely different. So he does understand that things aren't going to be an instant instant change, and the fans should understand that as well for me. But yeah, as I say, really eloquent. You know, spoke clearly, spoke sense for me, which you know hasn't been happening lately.
Well, absolutely. Just in terms of attacking a tent option, basically. What expand on that, because that was obviously a core tenet of Freddie's philosophy in this particular game. Arsenal did look to press forward, even if it didn't always come off. What was the sort of questions that we was asked?
Well, it was just obviously asked about the performance, and he said, you know, we attacked really well, we created chances, and we were threatening him. We had a lot of the ball. He said, you know, part of my style is we want to have the ball. And that's what I said to the players, and he was pleased with the way they played and went forward. Yeah. So
fantastic. Just in terms of individual players, did he single any out? Was he asked?
He was asked about Nicolas Pepe. Obviously, you know, he made 2 changes, bringing on attacking players in Bukayo Saka and Gabriel Martinelli. Pepe remained on the bench, and he gave a very short answer when asked why he wasn't brought on. He basically said, you know, Pepe's a really good player, but I judge it on what I see in training. And that was all he said. So,
okay, that's quite insightful.
Read in between the lines. You know, maybe not happy with the way that Pepe trains. Might have a slight knock, something along those lines. He's not been able to train as much as he can. So yeah, a bit interesting answer. Didn't give too much away, but yeah, if you do read between the lines, there might be something bit more to that. Yeah, absolutely.
It sounds like it's going to run and run. But in terms of the back line, so he obviously chose Mustafi, who I thought had a particularly good game for Mustafi. We'll talk about that in player ratings in a minute. We won't go into that now. But was he asked his reasoning behind because he chose a flat back 4 to start with, didn't he? So.
Yeah. He wasn't asked about the defence, but you know he did mention about how the problem is when Arsenal are on the transition, and he is going to work on that. So it's good to see that he's highlighted the problems already, and he wants to work on them. Yeah. I think he is going to be in charge for a fair few games, a fair few weeks as well. Obviously, Arsenal needs to be patient in choosing the next manager. Yeah. So he has got the time to sort it out, and obviously that'll only make a good impression if he does.
Absolutely. And a player who's been a real Marmite figure for a lot of Arsenal fans, Mesut Ozil, he looked more involved today. He didn't have his best game, but he was more involved in the creative sort of process, really. And he did look like he was maybe trying more than a Mesut Ozil has done this season, basically. But was Freddie asked about Ozil at all?
No, he wasn't. But, you know, I think you mentioned there about... You know, he was more involved, and he did. I agree with you on that. He was someone who really put in a lot of effort today. He was playing out of position as well, out on the left-hand side, but he worked really hard for me. And there was a point when I think I saw him sprint 30 yards back to try and help defend, which is something that we've maybe not seen him do in the past. Yeah. So hopefully, you know, Freddie can get the best out of him. I think he probably can get the best out of him. I feel like, you know, as a former player who was you know, had to play important roles. Yeah. I think he might just get the best out of him, but we'll wait and see.
Yeah, absolutely. Just in terms of Bernd Leno, he had a good game today.
He
stood strong in a couple of one-to-ones, really agile in terms of shot stopping as well. Was Freddie asked about that?
No, but Daniel Farke did talk about him. Obviously, you know, German as well. Yeah. He described him as world class.
Really?
And I think he was today. The saves he made in the second half were top saves. Yeah. And he said, you know, when you play against a goalkeeper like that, you're going to find it tough because he is just a superb player. He was today. I think he's been one of Arsenal's most consistent players this season.
Absolutely. Just in terms of the atmosphere, was sort of Freddie asked about that at all? I mean, it's always a good atmosphere down at Carrow Road. I suppose there was other questions to be asked prior to that, but I mean, it was a good atmosphere, and Arsenal, you know, ultimately didn't lose, and they looked promising in terms of attacking.
Yeah, well, I think in terms of that, he just enjoyed being there and being in that role. You know, it's something he's worked for a number of years, and it's maybe come sooner than expected, but you know, he's an Arsenal man through and through, and to hear him say that he's proud and honoured to stand there is an important thing for me, and I think should be for all Arsenal fans. Yeah, absolutely. So, absolutely. And just in terms of Per Mertesacker, were there any sort of questions aimed to Freddie about Per at all? No, there wasn't. No, but he was asked about his backroom staff, and he said, you know, we're still sorting something out. I don't know how long I'm going to be in this role for. We don't want to rush into making appointments that might not necessarily be right or might be changed in weeks, months' time. So, there is still a bit of sorting out to do, obviously. But I think, based on today's performance, there's reasons to be optimistic. He was also asked, interestingly, about can Arsenal still make the top 4, and he was very bullish.
Was he? Excellent. Yeah. What was he say?
He said, we can make the top 4.
Brilliant.
You look at the teams around us; they're dropping points. Tottenham have dropped points this season. Man United, Chelsea, everything's capable of dropping points. So Freddie thinks Arsenal will make the top 4, basically.
Fantastic. That's good to hear. That's wonderful to hear. Great to have Freddie back have Freddie back in an important role in the side after having been a player for years and been an absolute legend.
Yeah.
I thought Arsenal played well. We're going to have a big chat about Arsenal's performance with Dan, Serge and Jake as well, Jake Core. We'll have a proper chat on that. Let us know what you think as well. As I say, Dan's come from the press box. He's given his take on Freddie Ljungberg. I was going to say Unai Emery then. Unai's obviously gone. But yeah, Dan's had his say on Freddie. Let us know what you think. Like, comment, share. Many thanks to our new subscribers. We're getting a host of new subscribers every day. We're getting new watchers all the time. So thanks if you've just joined this channel and you've seen what you like, and hope you'll keep watching. But thanks for your time, and yeah, keep an eye out for our player ratings and match reaction piece as well from Carrow Road. Cheers.